Hi everybody, welcome back to Handmade. So today we're going to be making reusable produce bags. Anytime I go to the supermarket, I always bring my reusable tote bags, but then I go to the produce section and I'm just grabbing all of these plastic bags. So I was like, why not also make those reusable as well? We will be using a sewing machine for this project, but it is very, very easy. So this is a great first project if you're just learning how to use the sewing machine. And if you're an experienced sewer, you can knock these out in like 10 minutes. So we're going to be making two versions. There's going to be a cotton version and a mesh version. And they're made the exact same way, but I think it'll be easier to see what I'm doing on the cotton fabric. So let's start there. So the fabric that I'm using is actually something that I cut from an old dish towel. It is 100% cotton, and this is really important. The end doesn't fray. I mean, it frays a little, but you want fabric that kind of stays together, that's not fraying all over the place. So I actually have this doubled over. You're gonna want a really long rectangle like this. The measurements for this project do not have to be exact. Mine is about 28 by 13.5 inches, but really just use what you have and, try to get your numbers somewhere around there. So you're going to fold your fabric in half so that you have the right sides facing each other. This will be the outside of the bag in the end. And you can see that we have a nice fold right here at the bottom. Now we're just going to grab a pin and we're gonna measure down 2 inches, and we're just going to insert a pin right there. And then we'll just repeat that on the other side. So there's another 2 inches. And then we're just going to pin all the way down the sides from these pins that we just inserted right down to the fold. I actually just got these little sewing clips, so that's what I'm going to be using. All right, so now we're just gonna sew down both sides of the bag. And you can make sure to go over the stitches a few extra times at the top and at the bottom, just to reinforce it, which will make the bag a little bit stronger. So now that we have our bag sewn, you can see that the sides are nice and strong. You can go ahead and remove those 2 pins that we put in earlier. And as you go, just make sure that you're trimming any loose threads. So now we're going to kind of fold this so that this seam that we just sewed is right here in the middle. And we're going to just continue folding the seam the same length inwards as we sewed it down here. And then we're going to sew down this V line that we've created. You can press this with an iron if you want to, but it's such a small area, you don't really need to. So let's go ahead and sew that. So you can see how nice and clean that looks, having these finished edges going all the way up. Of course, we'll want to do that on both sides, so here is how the other side turned out. And now we're just going to fold down the top of each side 1 inch so that the top of the fabric lines up with the bottom of that V that we just sewed. And my fabric already has a finished edge because this used to be a dishcloth, but if yours is a raw edge, you can either just leave it like we did on the sides, or you can tuck it under and then fold the inch downwards. So we're just going to get that nice and lined up and pin it in place. So once you have that pinned, we're just gonna sew right along that line, and then we're gonna flip it over and we're going to sew the other side down as well. And make sure that you're only sewing through one side of the bag at a time. Don't sew the entire thing closed. So once both of these lines are sewn down in place, that is all of the sewing that we're going to be doing. So you can go ahead and turn your bag inside out. Make sure that you push out your corners. And now you can see that we have a nice simple bag with this casing at the top for our drawstring to go through. So I'm going to be using this macrame cord that I bought because I think the light pink is really pretty and fun. It's really thick and it isn't too slippery, so it'll really grab onto the fabric. So you'll want to cut 2 pieces, which are each a little bit more than double the width of your bag. Now just grab a large safety pin and we're gonna take the end of the string and we're just gonna put it right through the end there. And then we're going to start from one side and we're going to feed it all the way around the bag. All right, so once that's all the way through, we're just going to tie a little knot right here close to where it goes into the fabric, just like that, so that you don't end up pulling the string back through. And now we're gonna take our other string and we're gonna do the exact same thing, only we're gonna start from the other side. All right, so now we have this large drawstring bag with these 2 strings that when you pull them, you get a nice closure right here at the top. So there's just one final step, and this is optional, but if you want to, you can cut the ends of the string so that they're the same length, and then you can kind of unravel them and comb them out to make a cute little tassel. All right, so that was so easy and so quick to make. You can make these in all different sizes depending on how much produce you usually buy. And now I'm also going to make some out of this mesh material. I got all of this fabric for less than $8. It doesn't fray, so it works really well for this project. And you just follow the exact same steps. So what do you think? These are so easy to just throw into your reusable shopping bags and bring with you to the grocery store so that you can use a little less plastic every week. Of course, you'll want to wash and dry these before you use them. And I like using the mesh bags for foods like avocados, where they have an outside that you don't eat. And then I like the cotton ones for something like a head of broccoli, where you do eat the entire thing, and that way the food that you're eating doesn't come into contact with the shopping cart like through the mesh. But since these are so easy to make, you can just make a ton of them in different sizes and materials and just grab whatever you need on your way to the grocery store. So I would love to know, have you ever made anything similar to these? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.